Hello and welcome everybody to the August 2021 Gaming PC Build of the Month, brought to you by NewbComputerBuild.com. My name is Corey. We have the builds this month. If you're new here, we do these four builds here: $1,500, $1,000, $800, and $500 builds. These are the perfect budgets for different performance areas where you're kind of aiming for in terms of building your gaming PC. So $1,500 build would be those you want to max out games at 2K resolutions, playing to 4K quite well. Well, 1000, kind of that 1080p high FPS into the 2K resolutions. $800 build would be that kind of 1080p build, and the $500 build being that entry-level build where you just want to kind of get into gaming PC building and be able to play games, albeit scaled back a little bit in terms of performance. Before we get started today, I just want to jump into some news, as I like to do before getting into the build of the month. In relation to some of the builds that we have here, but not so much. One is here you may have heard of lately, if you've been paying any attention to any PC news, is that some pre-builts like Alienware, which we're not recommending here, but just noteworthy news is if you're planning on a pre-build, because, you know, graphics cards have been hard to get, so I wouldn't put it past anyone, but we'll get into how they're getting easier to get, but these ones are apparently you can't ship some pre-builts like these Alienware here, like the Aurora R12, where it's saying it can't be shipped to California, Colorado, Hawaii, Oregon, Vermont, or Washington due to their power consumption because they have new laws in place or something like that. So if you want to look more into that, you can look more into that. Another worthy announcement is the AMD announces the 1080p Beast, the Radeon RX 6600 XT for $379. This is going to come out this month, August 11th, August 11th, 2021. So this month at for $379. I don't know if they'll come out at $379. They're not going to, AMD has said they're not going to release reference cards, but rather they're going to do it through their partners, you know, like BioStar, Gigabyte, MSI, etc. And this would be a great card if you can get it for that price and slot it into one of the gaming PC builds of the month, such as in between the, I would say, $1,000 and $800 build. You'd be laughing if you can get it for that price. Get it for that price. But as with all graphics cards these days, it probably will sell out really quickly and be a little more expensive than that. But if you can get it, you can get it. All right, let's get started with the build of the month. Let's get started with the $1,500 gaming PC build of the month. This one comes in with the newer Ryzen 5000 series. So this is an AMD Ryzen 5 5600X CPU that comes with it at $279.99. A strong competitor to this could be the Intel i5-11600K, but do keep in mind if you wanted to go that route, you do need to have another compatible motherboard. So, but for the sakes of this build, I recommend the Ryzen 5 5600X. The cooler that we have with this one is the stock AMD Wraith Stealth cooler. You can always upgrade the cooler if you want, if you have a little more budget to spend, but this will get you by unless you're going to start overclocking right away and that sort of thing. Motherboard we have here is the Asus TUF Gaming X570 Plus. Motherboard at $179.99. The graphics card recommended is an RTX 3070. The one we have here is the Aurora's GeForce RTX 3070 included. This one's included as, so good news and bad news. Graphics cards are still quite expensive and quite a bit over MSRP. However, you can actually get them now. So this one at the beginning of the month here is $1,209.99 in stock. Keep in mind that MSRP for RTX 3070s is $530 to $740. Or sorry, it's $530, but you can probably get this card realistically, like if it was in MSRP in between these prices, but realistically, this is what you're going to get it for. So other cards, I put other cards recommended here just in case you can't get an RTX 3070 or it's a little too much over MSRP. You can consider something like an RTX 3070 Ti. Not more money, but it's not too much more money if you think about it in terms of the upgrade here. So for $1,275, you can get one. Or if you want to scale back your price a little bit, for $899.99, you can get a 6700 XT right now, which performs just a little less than the RTX 3070, but quite a bit more affordable at the moment. Or something like an older 1080 Ti for $869.99, but I'd get the 6700 XT over and above that. Anyways, let's move on. The memory we have is a Crucial Ballistics 3600 megahertz kit, $93.99. The storage we have is a Crucial P2 1TB NVMe SSD, $102.90, and then the power supply, EVGA Supernova 750 watt fully modular power supply, $124.47. And then the case we have this month is the Cooler Master Masterbox MB511A RGB case for $79.99. the price that this should come out to. And this is a range because if the GPU was within MSRP, it would be about $1,414. However, true GPU cost is $2,094. I know a little over that $1,500 budget, but that's the true cost and realistically should come down a little bit as time goes on here. Moving on to the $1,000 gaming PC build of the month for August 2021. As I had said, this is for high FPS at 1080p gameplay into 2K resolutions at higher settings as well. The CPU for this one is an Intel one. We have the Intel Core i5-11400F CPU, $175. Or if you want to consider the 11400, this is the one with built-in graphics, but you don't need that one because we're recommending a graphics card. But if you can't get a graphics card right away, you could consider the i5-11400, so the non-F version for $189.99. You need a CPU cooler for this one, so we're recommending the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Black Edition Air CPU cooler for $39.99. Motherboard Gigabyte B560M DS3H for $98.99, so it's a budget small form factor board this month that we're recommending. Graphics card Zotac Gaming GeForce RTX 3060 Ti. This one at the actual cost is $979. It should be within $400 for MSRP. However, there is an RX 6700 XT, or there are RX 6700 XTs out there right now that are lower than this actual cost. So I would get the 6700 XT at that lower cost if you can afford it. Or if the 3060 Ti comes down, they are in stock right now, but if they come down in cost, I would recommend that if you want to get it more within your budget. Now, the memory we have is Crucial Ballistics 16 gigabyte kit, 3200 megahertz memory, $87.99. Storage, Crucial P2 500 gigabyte NVMe SSD, $54.99. Power supply is the EVGA Supernova 650 watt for $85.98. And then the case we have here is the NZXT H510. I love this case. I know some people don't like it. Some people do like it. It's all about taste. But this, I like it. It's a classic, kind of a modern enthusiast case. So $66.99, and it's a good price right now. And then the range of this one, if the GPU is within MSRP, $1,070 all the way up to $1,639 with current GPU costs. The next build, the $800 build for August 2021. Again, we have the Intel Core i5-11400F CPU for $175. Alternatively, the 11400 for $189.99 if you want built-in graphics. In the meanwhile, if you can't get a graphics card. The cooler is the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Black Edition, $39.99. Again, the same motherboard, the Gigabyte B560M DS3H, small form factor board, $98.99. The graphics card for this one recommended is the ASRock AMD Radeon RX 5600 XT. Actual cost, $729.99. MSRP, $279.99. So actual cost right now, but theoretically should be closer to this. Alternative cards, you can get a 1660 Super, lesser performing, but for $499.99 in stock right now, or the GTX 1650 for $339.99, also in stock, but a budget card. Memory we have is a Crucial Ballistics 3200 megahertz kit, 16 gigabyte kit for $87.99. And then the SSD we have here is a Crucial P2 500 gigabyte NVMe SSD, $54.99. Power supplies, the Apevia ATX Prestige 600 watt power supply for $53.99. And then the case we have here is our good old friend Zalman. Our Zalman S4 case here, $49.99. And then the range kind of for this build this month is with current GPU costs, current GPU costs at the moment would be about $1,290 to $841 with a GPU if it was theoretically at MSRP. Finally, the $500 gaming PC build of the month for August 2021. We have two CPUs included here. The reason we have two CPUs, the first one here is the Ryzen 5 3400G. This is an APU that includes Radeon RX graphics, so it has built-in graphics. You don't need to buy a graphics card, but it will run games. Significantly scaled back settings, but for example, you can play medium settings StarCraft 2, no problem with this one. CPU at $299.99. However, a higher performing CPU is this AMD Ryzen 3 3300X, which is a newer CPU as well, but it's higher performing and cheaper at $144.99, but does not have integrated graphics, so you will need a graphics card as well. The cooler included is the AMD Wraith Spire cooler that comes with the Ryzen 5 3400G. And then the motherboard we have here is the Asus Prime B450M2 motherboard at $76 at the moment. We're using integrated Radeon RX graphics. However, if you want to go with the other CPU, the Ryzen 3 3300X, you can get something like the GeForce GTX 1650, which can play 1080p games decently. And that'll come out to about $339.99, which is quite a bit over MSRP at the moment. Memory we have here is just an 8GB kit, Patriot Viper Steel DDR4, 3200 megahertz, $49.99. SSD is the PNY CS900 240GB SATA SSD, $31.99. Power supply, Thermaltake Smart 500 watt, $54.99. And the case we have included here is the Deep Cool Micro ATX case here. So it's a compact case for $49.99. And then this comes out to a total in August 2021 here, $546 using the integrated graphics on the Ryzen 5 3400G. All right, that does it for all the gaming PC builds of the month. Visit the site here at newbcomputerbuild.com because you can dive more into these builds and have kind of the upgrades to them, as we do have upgrade suggestions if you have a little more to spend or want upgrade ideas for the future. But best of luck building your gaming PCs. Leave a comment, subscribe for more. Otherwise, visit the site and leave a comment there if you need some help building your PC. Until next month.